I'm here today with Timothy Sislo from Travel Juneau. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the amazing things you can do in Juneau. And we've had a great day today in Juneau. It's been, first of all, the arranged beautiful weather, and I thank you for that, because that's better than the forecast starting out tonight. But we've been to the Alaska State Museum. Accessibility there was really good. We know the bus service is really good for accessibility.
You can get pretty close to Mendenhall Glacier.
Just didn't have quite enough time because it's a mile and a half after you get off the bus and about 45 minutes on the bus to get there and back. That doesn't work so well. All right, but first of all, tell us a little bit about your job here.
Yeah, basically what I do here is I manage the visitor information centers. We have 4 visitor information centers throughout the city. One is located at our State Ferry Terminal. We have one at our airport. And then we have 2 in our downtown area. And those are both seasonal, so they only operate during the cruise ship season in the summertime.
And on into the fall and
Early
into the spring.
Yeah, started to go out to those shoulder seasons a little bit more.
Yeah. And so let's say that I'm a first time visitor to Juneau, because I'm not, but I'll just ask you, somebody that's coming to Juneau for the first time, what are some of the things that let's say that they're fully mobile, they don't have any challenges. What are some of the things that they should think about doing?
Oh, definitely. And some of the most popular things to do here in Juneau, of course, we have the Mendenhall Glacier. It is one of the only glaciers that you can drive up to in the United States. And so that's a really popular attraction here. It's got beautiful hiking trails around it. It also has the gorgeous Nugget Falls, which is a very popular attraction when people come here. Other than that, there's also great hiking here. There's whale watching. We're some of the best in the world for whale watching here. And then also we have a fabulous state museum, which I'm so glad you all got to visit earlier.
Yeah. And there's also a Juneau Museum?
Yes. Yeah, we have the Juneau Douglas City Museum. And so that kind of covers more of the history of Juneau itself and how Juneau became a mining capital and then eventually the capital of the state.
And if I remember right, there's a cultural center here too that features Native American.
Yes. Yeah, we have the Sea Alaska Heritage Center, and Sea Alaska is a beautiful cultural center. And they also do a lot of work throughout the state. And so recently in this last year, they actually, along the water side here in Juneau, raised 13 different totem poles that were all carved by local indigenous carvers. And they're absolutely beautiful. And they intend on raising, I believe, a total of about 30 by the end of the project.
Oh, wow. Yeah, in fact, I saw and took pictures of some of them as we were walking down along the boardwalk.
Oh, fantastic. Yes. Yeah, those were just raised. They started raising them in April of last year.
Okay. And so let's talk about what are some of the most accessible things to do?
Definitely. Our state museum is very accessible. The city museum and our state capitol are also very accessible options. We have a few accessible whale watching options here in town. And then I know there's a tour here that's a really cool tour called the AJ Gastineau Mill Tour. And that tour is also fully accessible. And it takes you actually inside of an old mine shaft that was once in the mountainsides just around the building that we're in currently. And you get to experience hard rock mining equipment as it's being operated. And then they take you down to the base of the buildings where they used to be and show you the ruins and tell you about the history of mining here in Juneau. And it ends out with a little bit of gold panning as well to see if you can strike it rich.
Yeah. And we would have done that, but Cheryl's not a fan of mines, caves, any dark enclosed space is not her favorite thing. I'm picking on Cheryl. She's sitting over here. We just didn't have room at the table. Okay. And so let's see, what about accessible places to eat in town?
Definitely. One of my favorite accessible places in town is located right on the waterfront here. We have a beautiful old building there that's called the Historic Merchants Wharf. And inside of that wharf is the hangar on the wharf. And that building itself, the hangar, used to actually be our initial seaplane hangar here in Juneau. And that's actually where Alaska Airlines got its start, was right out of that little seaplane hangar right there. And the hangar on the wharf, they also own the restaurant right next door, the flight deck. And both of them are fantastic restaurants with great seafood, great options for a little bit of everything. It has American style, has a little bit, I think there's some Asian food involved in there too. And so yeah, lots of stuff for everybody and a really great, beautiful spot to go to. Very accessible. And also it's nice because if you look out the windows or if you get outdoor seating, you can actually watch as the seaplanes take off for excursions.
Yeah, I noticed that right down below there's quite a few seaplanes that are docked there. It was interesting. We were in Ketchikan yesterday and there were a seaplane coming and going, and it seemed like there was no traffic rules like with the ships, because some of them took pointed right at the ship and just moved a little bit, went around the ship. They're like, okay. I was an air traffic controller for a while, and an uncontrolled environment like that, it stresses me out. You know, I'm just have all these rules.
Yeah, definitely a little different in Alaska sometimes. And I feel, the small seaplanes have their own set of rules.
Of course, seaplane is very important. I understand you have an accessible flight scene tour here as well.
We do, yes. And so that's a company called Coastal Helicopters, and they do have a fully accessible lift that can take you up into the helicopters. And what they do on the accessible tours is they take you up on the glacier. You get a chance to experience it from up close, get to see the beauty up there.
Very nice. That would be one of those bucket list trips for a lot of people.
Definitely. And that does end up being a really popular excursion here in Juneau is the helicopter tours onto the different glaciers. We have a few different glaciers that the different companies in town offer. And so a few of them go to the Mendenhall Glacier. A lot of them go to the Herbert Glacier. And I believe there's also one or two that go to a glacier called the Norris Glacier.
Okay. I know there's also a flight scene tour. I don't know if it's accessible that visits, I think that's an airplane tour that goes out and visits Taku Glacier and stops at the Taku Line.
Yeah, and so that one is a tour it's good for people with limited mobility. I believe they will have to be able to navigate about 3 steps for that tour, but it's beautiful. You get to fly over 5 different glaciers on that tour, and then you land at the historic Taku Glacier Lodge, which is actually just, I believe this year, was added to the National Preservation for being a historic building. It's over 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the food's absolutely delicious out there. You get some time on the grounds, and you get a chance to just enjoy the serene quietness of nature out there.
Mm-hmm. And I did hear too that you have a salmon feast here in town, and they're accessible as well.
Yes, yeah. So we have the Gold Creek Salmon Bake operated through Alaska Travel Adventures. Alaska Travel Adventures is actually one of the oldest tour operating companies here in Juneau, and they've expanded across the state. And they have an absolutely delicious salmon feast. It's all you can eat. If you're not a salmon fan, they do also have some delicious chicken available there and vegetarian options. The grounds are also beautiful right at the base of the Salmon Creek waterfall. And so you can enjoy the grounds and explore the beauty and even do a little bit of gold panning there yourselves.
Exactly. And for if anybody that's watching this has not eaten fresh grilled salmon, it is not like what you buy in the stores. That's all I'm going to say, is it is just so much better. I've eaten it. We were fortunate. We lived in Central California for a while, and so we could get it. That was back when the water wasn't quite as warm. And that was the south end of where the salmon fleet operated, so they'd bring it ashore down in Morro Bay. And you could get those ocean run kings, and you cut them up like a steak, and they sizzled like a steak. They flared like a steak, medium rare, and a dash of lemon juice on it. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, so that's a great option. A lot of these are available if you're here in town on a cruise ship. But if you're here staying, these are all things you can see. Now, let's say that somebody wanted to come and stay here for a while. What are some of the things? Some of the other things they might want to think about doing while they're here?
Oh, definitely. One thing that I think people don't realize about Juneau is that we have a fantastic arts community. Here in this community alone, we have professional theater, we have professional opera, and we have professional dance, and we have a professional orchestra. And if you are staying for a while, it's something that I always highly recommend checking out. We have some world-class musicians here in Juneau and a lot of really great accessible venues. And there's always something going on. There's music almost every night, and we have 5 different theater companies in town, so there's always some sort of production happening right now.
Okay, good. And I heard a rumor, you can tell me if this is true, but there might be some fishing in and around Juneau.
Oh, yeah. Definitely quite a bit of fishing in and around. That's another great thing to check out. And the nice thing about Juneau, too, is it's a stepping off point for a lot of smaller, more intimate fishing lodges that you can either take a seaplane out to, or oftentimes they do have charter boats that they can take you out to. And you can spend sometimes up to a week or 2 weeks just out enjoying nature in the remote areas and getting as much fish as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, being on a cruise ship, you don't have a lot of time for that, but those are some of the things I would really enjoy doing.
Definitely. Yeah. It's a beautiful way to experience Juneau in Southeast Alaska.
Okay. So tell me, Tim, if somebody's listening to this and wants to know more about the visitor center here in Juneau and what to do while they're here, what should they do? How should they reach out to you?
Oh, definitely. So you can reach out to us. Our website is www.traveljuneau.com, or you can give us a call at 907-586-1740. And that's reaches my direct line as the visitor services manager. We also do have our regular line. In case I'm unavailable, we have it's 907-586-1822, 1822.
Okay. And we'll put those in the comments of the video as well. I want to thank you very much for your time, Tim, and it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.